been another very hard-hitting show tonight,
Definitely.
OMG, all in capitals. Here's a little recap of tonight's show.
Finish, Linda?
Well, I don't know
Yes,
whether they
thank you.
click it.
Good.
Linda Arsehole.
Sorry?
Linda Arsehole. I think that's what you called me when you went out there.
Not tonight, Linda, please.
You called me that when you went out there.
Linda.
I don't know what the fuck's going on in this house after
You should ask her.
they come.
Ask her about Frank Carson's dressing room.
If you want to talk about Frank Carson's dressing room behind my back, you speak to me
I
about
don't
it.
understand
And
what you
be
mean.
A big, tall, grown-up
what is Frank
man
Carson's dressing
instead of
room?
the little snidey shit that you are. It's so low, Sam. It's so low what you've done.
Okay, so before we go any further in tonight's main show, there's been a lot of talk about what might have happened in Frank Carson's dressing room. So it appears that in 1995, Linda's husband, Brian, pleaded guilty in court to stealing £20 out of a wallet that was in Frank Carson's dressing room. He was fined £200. Linda had absolutely no involvement in it, but she did stand by her husband, as you would. So that is what's happened. Let's all move on and let's take a look at what has happened this morning.
Whenever you're ready, Lynn, I'll talk. I apologise, I haven't said anything to anybody. It's wrong of me to suggest it, but for the life of me, I can't work out why you hate me so much. My apologies to upset you, my deepest apologies.
How dare he think he can just call that? I walked in, he had his arms out, so I walked round up there. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry I overstepped the mark. I'm sorry I upset you so much. And for the life of me, I don't know why you hate me so much. And you know what the hysterical thing is? I've never said I hate him. When I first came in here, I said, I don't like him when he's drunk because he's a male chauvinist pig. So, but he thinks it's all okay now, does he? Because he can put his arms out.
I just said to her, stay away from her.
It's a very, very, very tricky, sticky situation. We've got so much to talk about tonight, so we better get on and meet the panel. What a bunch of high-flying achievers we have with us this evening. My first guest has the unique accolade of being one of only 2 housemates to receive the most nominations in a single week in any series of Big Brother. It is the legend that is Dexter Coe. And continuing with the theme of greatness, we only have the very best on this show. That's why we have Will Best. Hi, Will.
Hi.
And finally, we have a former champion in our midst. Yes, we do. She's the original Big Brother loose woman. Please give it up for the one and only Denise Welch. Are we going to dive straight in? But I've got to say, you look fabulous. Thank you. You look absolutely amazing.
Desperately trying to hold me tummy in on that walk down there.
Oh, first time on air. Denise, what do you make to this house?
I tell you what, it's 2 years since I was in, and I've never come back and done this. I had such a horrible experience in there. I've never wanted to come back to the studio, to be perfectly honest.
And finally,
I've come back because I love this CBB. I just absolutely love it. It's unmissable.
And it's one of those things, isn't it, where, you know, people are talking to me about this series that have never talked to me about Big Brother before. It just seems that it's really gripped everybody.
The great thing about it for me is that my outrageous tits out in the hot tub will surely pale into insignificance now.
Denise, no one's ever going to mention that again until
oh my God, just because I just
about
did.
10 minutes and they'll bring it up again. But, you know, it is a great series for good and bad. Do you know what I mean? There are horrible arguments. There's a lot of fun. There's bit of sleaziness. There's, you know, are there
A lot of
budding genuine
sleaziness.
relationships? It's kind of got everything in it, and I think that's why it's gripped so many people. Dexter, when the house explodes, like it kind of has done tonight, what effect does that have on the game? I ask you because you are the master game player.
It changes the game completely. I mean, all of those different characters this year it's just been so gripping. I mean, the whole nation is talking about this series. So when something goes off, everyone is literally, I don't even go and make a cup of tea. I mean, I am literally glued to the screen.
I know, it is. It's almost like when they come out, I'm like, I don't even know where to begin. Like, we just don't, 8 minutes is not enough time to talk to any of those housemates about everything that's happened. Will, tonight, a really not very nice situation between Jim and Linda. Did he take it a step too far?
I think he did.
Yeah.
And I think he admits that he did. When we were watching it back, the show in the green room, everybody was saying how much he was sort of backtracking. You know, normally he's quite good at he'll do something and then he'll be like, yeah, I've done that. But he sort of said he didn't. He was like, Frank who kind of thing. That was a bit weird. But he has made a career out of taking things too far in a way.
That was a very personal thing, though, and it was quite obvious that what happened in Frank Carson's dressing room was going to be of public interest.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's obviously what's going to be going Linda's...
About it.
He's horrible pissed, though.
Yeah, he goes a very interesting shade of red when he drinks. He's probably got the reddest face I've ever seen.
And I think, you know, the most awful thing about it is they're talking about a man who's no longer with us. And that is where it crosses the line, I think.
He's not here to defend himself.
It's just kind of... It is. That's in my opinion, it's a step too far. Team Jim or Team Linda?
That's all past. He didn't have to bring that up at all. And for her to have lost her husband, Frank Carson isn't around either. So what past is past, end of. She could bring up probably loads about him.
So aside from just what's happened tonight, though, there is 2 weeks of Team Jim and Team Linda because they kind of always do have a nitpick at each other. So as a whole, without what happened in tonight's show, as a whole, still Team Linda?
Oh, yeah, very much so. Because he stirs it behind the scenes and then comes in the bedroom all innocent. What?
Okay, let's go to Team Jim.
I'm just not liking Team Jim. I'm a bit on the fence about this situation. The only...
I'm trying on a toe. So sorry.
I've warmed to Jim a lot, but the only thing is that I found... I'd have respected it a lot more if he'd have gone in there and said, yeah, I did say that, blah, blah, blah. But he didn't do that. He went in and he was like, I don't know what you're on about. So I think I'd have respected his action a lot more if he'd have been like, honest, owned it and been a bit more honest about it.
It was quite weird, wasn't it? Because in the garden, he said, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then when they were in the bedroom, he said that Louisa said, what is it? What is the history with you two? And then he said... I said, maybe it's about Frank Carson's dressing room. So it's, you know...
But she wouldn't have known if it wasn't for Louisa.
She has actually kept pecking away at him. And to a degree, that's going to get in your head. So he's going to defend himself in some way. But it just reminds me of sort of like, you know, times like if your mum and dad argue, they try and sort of like get the children involved, and that's what they're doing. They're picking their children and sort of going, right, boys, you come with me, right, girls, you come with me. And they're trying to just divide the house. But it's just that mum and dad thing.
It does remind me a little bit of mum and dad thing as well. Not of my mum and dad. So Jim was the most popular housemate again last night. He was saved first. After the argument, Will, is this going to change everything?
No, I don't think it will. I mean, this is interesting that some people are still like defending Jim and making out that Linda was in the wrong with that. I mean, she has been sort of picking at him a bit. Huh? Yeah, they are both as bad as each other, but I mean, he called everyone a moron, didn't he? He sort of called the crowd a moron. But that's not going to affect anything, because when you hear somebody calling a crowd a moron, you always separate yourself from that crowd. It's like, yeah, they are morons. He's not on me. I'm not
Denise,
a moron.
I'd like to ask you, because you know both of them, I think, do you?
Yeah, I do. It's very difficult when you know people
your...
outside. I think Jim's an arsehole, personally. And, you know, I've had, not very personal that it's affected me, but I've been in his midst when, and listen, I had my issues with alcohol, which is why I've bloody stopped. But so I'm not trying to go, oh, I don't drink anymore. But the fact is, I've seen what he is like with a drink. We see some of what he's like with a drink. And believe me, the programme doesn't give you enough to get as legless as people think that you can get on that. But he's a nasty drunk, and it's difficult for Linda because she clearly has had, you know, previous experience with him before this, and you can't get rid of that when you go into the house if you know someone before. I just think that he's playing a very, very clever game to try and turn. I really do, because I think he is a misogynistic, chauvinistic wanker.
You just said, isn't this show about changing the public's perception of you? It is, as long as it's a genuine
changing.
He's been doing it from the beginning, but this time he's just picked the wrong subject and pushed
I
it
would
too
imagine
far.
what we want to see is the real person rather than someone trying. Do you know, we had about 10 questions in that debate and we've done about 4. We haven't even touched on Lee and Casey and that whole thing. And we're out of time. Can we? No? Oh, they haven't. Yeah. Thank you very much. Anyway, right, stay with us because Diane Newdale is going to be high-kicking her way up to the plus, we'll have even more exclusive footage from the house. We'll see you in a bit. Big Brother's put on the side. Like Lionel, I thank God for this show because without Big Brother, I'd never have met Adapi as well. Here's an exclusive.
And how do you feel about the situation this morning, Linda?
He's still an arsehole who thinks that, you know, by saying sorry, everything will be okay. But he's very much mistaken. I've been having a great time. And although part of me wants to go home, part of me wants to stay because I don't want to give him the satisfaction. And as you know, when we were handcuffed together, I said, you know, he was nothing but a gentleman and looked after me and, you know, but then his little snide remarks started and his talking down to women and being patronising, but he does it in a clever way when he's sober.
What do you think everybody else's views are on Jim, Linda?
I don't care if they all want to sit and, you know, play games with him, that's fine, but I won't be.
Do you think you can get back to enjoying your time in the Big Brother house, Linda?
I don't know.
Oh, poor Linda. OK, it's like she's just stepped out of a salon here to bring us some much-needed psychotherapy. It's Diane Newdale. And as if one great mind wasn't enough, Dexter's joined her as well. So I know we've just done a whole part talking about Jim and Linda. We weren't meant to, but that's just the way it goes with this situation. It's quite heavy, really, and quite upsetting, I think. It obviously came to a head in tonight's show. Is that it? Is this as far as it's going to go, or is it going to continue, do you think?
It's going to multi-peak and it's going to keep running. And there's one reason for it. It's called a transference in psychotherapy. It's not a projection where you're seeing in the person only what you want to see. It's so deep and so long-standing, no matter how far you try to run from it, it's like a silver umbilical cord. It keeps pinging you back, and you'll never get a full resolve with it unless both parties want to resolve it.
You've picked out a clip, haven't you?
Yeah.
That you'd like us to look at. Let's take a look.
Don't pretend that everything's okay, Jim. It's not. We don't get on. We don't like each other. And you walked to there, called me Linda arsehole. So, you know, just let's not pretend.
Get some sleep, love.
Oh, Jim, grow up.
Grow up. Linda, you've got to bin your anger. You really have.
So what are you getting from that?
Yeah. I'm listening for the words. Freud always said, listen to the words. They'll be telling you what's going on. Grow up, and bin the anger. It's old. So they're talking even about being very young. So it might even be stuff that happened in Linda's life and his life as very young people on this planet.
Okay,
Deep
now,
stuff.
it is, isn't it? Dexter, you had a bit of hassle in the house, didn't you? You and Callum didn't quite see eye to eye, I think it's fair to say. What is it like living with someone? How does it feel? How much pressure do you feel under when you're living with somebody and there's clearly a dislike that's going both ways?
It's like a boiler room in there because the pressure just keeps building and building, and the longer that your nemesis is in the house with you, it gets worse and worse, and all of your thoughts are just consumed by getting that person out so you can enjoy the rest of your life.
Yeah. Does it feel uncomfortable? Because Jim always, I think, looks quite at ease with himself when he's walking around, even if like something's gone on. Whereas Linda, I kind of feel you can see her looking slightly uncomfortable if something's happened and not really. So is that difficult as well?
I think it depends on the person, because some people hide their emotions and some people are very outward with it. I think Jim's very good at hiding what he feels, and Linda's more honest and open.
Has he taken the alpha male role in the house? He does seem to. The boys seem to kind of be happy to stick with him. I'm not saying, they seem to really like Linda as well, Dappy especially, and Lee, they call her mama and stuff. But he does have the boys on side, doesn't he?
It's odd, because I said the other week they don't need a mother or father figure, and they actually don't. I think it's just a comfort thing right now because things are really starting to go off. I don't think Jim has wittingly taken on a conscious alpha role. He just does, despite what he's showing his provocative side, which he's built a career on, which we were talking about earlier, he does have a lot of wisdom. He's 1 year out of probably the biggest demons in his life, and he said in the diary room earlier, this 1 week has been better than the whole of my last year. He's had a lot of therapy. He's decided to stay here on the planet with everybody, for good, bad or indifferent, but it does mean he sits on a chasm of kind of wisdom and information, and the boys, particularly Lionel, with the whole cataclysm of Louisa, they needed that comfort, and our Mediterranean brothers and fathers do it very well in the Mediterranean, but they're seeing how boys come together, and they need that boys' space to talk, and they've needed it there.
So if there's a boys' club, there's kind of a girls' club as well. Yeah. What club is Louisa in?
Club 69.
Because we have seen this evening, she was the one that kind of went and said, Jim did say, maybe it's this. Then she goes and asks Linda what it is. And then, of course, we see it with the Casey and Lee situation. Lee tells her what he thinks of Casey. She goes back and tells Linda and Sam, and then they're very happy to tell Casey as well.
She's a catalyst, and she's good at it. She does kind of peering over the duvet with those eyes and, did you know? And even Jasmine said the other night, if we're not allowed to scream and shout, and then we can actually sort of whisper to each other, what are we meant to be doing? Yeah. But, Louisa's very good at it, and it's sort of toying, and it's perfect for the Big Brother house as it is at the moment, because it means that everything is starting to come out and be received at the sources it's meant to be received at, which isn't comfortable for us, but at least there's truths coming out.
Is she giving you a run for your money, Dexter?
Most definitely. I mean, she's either very, very clever or very, very stupid. But I call her the puppet master because she's there with her little strings like this, because she's whispering into one person's ear, then causing some massive explosion, then whispering in another person's ear and causing a massive explosion. But what happens in the house is it's like Chinese whispers, because one story just develops and it changes a little bit, and it just gets into a lot bigger situation than it actually started. So I think she's playing a very, very good game, and she'll probably be out next week, but I'd like to see her get a little bit further, just for entertainment purposes.
And what about Lee and Casey? He's accused her this evening of saying that she wanted a showmance. Do you think there was a genuine feeling there on either side?
Casey, definitely. I mean, she loved it. I'm 100% Team Casey all the way. I mean, Lee is a 22-carat bellend, and now he is trying to... He is trying to cover himself by saying that Casey invented this showmance because he knows how hated he is in the outside world. It's not right. It really, really is not right.
How is Charlie?
She's lovely. She's at home watching with a cup of tea. I'm seeing her later.
Okay, so how do you think Casey's going to respond now? She obviously knows. She was boiling with anger this evening. How do you think she's going to react, Lee, and how is it going to affect how she stands within the house?
What I love about Casey, she works from what I call the mammalian part of the brain. It's the thinking part where you count to 10 before you blow, and she stays in it beautifully. However, there's a deep part of the brain called the reptilian part of the brain, and it's when you just fight, freeze or flight. If she makes that switch, it'll become so explosive, particularly between her and Lee. But if she keeps that honesty and that integrity and that groundedness we've begun to love so much about her, she could do really well out of this.
She's kept her cool so far, hasn't she?
Yeah.
But then it's quite an accusation. Because I genuinely would imagine if Casey had said something like that it would have been aired. Because again, it would have made a great storyline.
Exactly, that's what we've all been saying. And then she said double jeopardy herself on the diary room chair, but then actually it's going into triple jeopardy almost. It's kind of getting really out of hand. So it's going to have to come to a head.
We need to get them digging through tapes to make sure that whether it's been said or not. Guys, thank you so much for that. Now, for last night's shenanigans, we've got a whole platter of celebs to whet your voting appetite. Here are the numbers you need to save your fave. This week, Dappy, Jim, Lee, Lionel, Liz, Louisa, Ollie and Sam all face the public vote. Who stays? You decide. From a landline, call 090 20 44 24 and add the number of the housemate you want to save. From a mobile, call 6 44 24 and add the number of the housemate you want to save. For Dappy, add 02. For Jim, add 05. For Lee, add 06. For Lionel, add 08. For Liz, add 09. For Louisa, add 10. For Ollie, add 11. For Sam, add 12. Mobile and BT landline votes cost 50p. Other landlines may vary. Voting closes in Friday's eviction show. Votes cast after the lines close won't count. For full terms, go to channel5.com/BBVote. Welcome back to Big Brother's Bit on the Side. We had a dodgy stir fry early, so I do apologise for the smell in here. Now, the producers have kept me out of the phone room all series. So, to make an extra special for you this evening, they've supplied me with some highly distinguished call centre staff. Look at this, what a treat! I love it. Okay, so there's an eviction tomorrow night. So what we'd like to know is who you'd like to see go and why. Will, who's on line one?
I've got Tossan from Manchester.
Tossan from Manchester. Tossan. Who would you like to see? Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks. Who would you like to see leave?
I'd like to see possibly Lee probably leave.
Why?
Mainly because of the drama that he's been causing. I mean, I would like to say that I was shocked that he blamed Casey for Jasmine going, but, you know, he's supposed to be a grown-ass man, and he's playing people around like a fiddle, but, you know, I think he needs to get some responsibility, cut the excuses, and stop acting like he's a player, but to be honest, he's probably just a horny teenager who can't control his hormones. But
I think he's 30, so he's past his teens, so there's really no excuse. Do either of you three know Lee?
I know Lee a bit, yeah.
What do you think to what's going on?
Well, the thing is, it's funny because it is difficult. Well, like I said earlier, when you know people on the outside, and Lee is, you know, he is a nice guy. I think that he's behaving like, I have a 12-year-old when it's sort of like Willie's poos and bums. Do you know what I mean? When they think that's hilarious. You know, they are very funny. So there's a bit like that. But I think that you know, I think you said earlier, it probably would have been aired if Casey had said that. And I think it's a horrible thing to do. I think Lee's terrified of being coming out since he was 15 years old. He's only ever had cheers. He's never had booze before. Yeah. And I think it really frightens him. But having said that, he's not doing himself any favours. No. You know, it's all on the telly, Lee, and we've seen it all. And you never actually forget the cameras are there. You start not caring that the cameras are there.
I love that Denise looks like she's having this conversation on the telephone.
Yeah, yes, I do. I'm still doing acting with the telephone.
Should we find out who's on line two?
Yeah, hello. Oh, hello. Yes, it's Mitch from Bristol.
Hi, Mitch from Bristol.
Mitch. Hi, Emma. Hi, Dan. You're right.
Yeah.
Hi, darling.
Who do you think should go?
I think it's time that Sam goes. She's dull as ditch water.
Oh.
She's not done anything since she's been in the house, and really, she's pointless being in there.
Aww.
I think the viewers are getting it completely wrong. At the moment, I think they're voting for their favourite. It's not time to vote for your favourite now. We should be voting for the most entertaining people. We don't want the Lees and the Louisas to go just yet. They're entertaining us.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? You either vote on who you think is really nice and deserves to stay in there, or who entertains you the most, and that is
she's in a house of massive characters, and I know from experience, as does Dexter, that what you do in there certainly impacts on your life outside. And I think that, you know, she's not a bitch, she's not a bully, and she doesn't want to have sex in the house, so there's not really a lot left for her to do.
Other than be nice,
which she is, you know.
But if her and Ollie get together, made in Chelsea,
Yeah,
cross-pollination with Towie,
Made
be
in
amazing.
Boreham Wood.
I know.
Wow.
Reality super brew.
Yeah.
Dexter, we haven't got time to go to your phone line, but we are going to go back to Will's. Will,
Yeah.
who's...
Oh, yes. Oh, hey. Yeah, it's the horse that kicked Dappy in the face.
Oh, why the long face? Are you the one that's been voting for Liz? And you? Have you been voting for Liz?
Definitely.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for being on the phones this evening.
Thank you for having us on
And for having your phone call.
Yeah, am I still on it?
Bye.
Okay, that Rylan, you know, he really gets about. He really does put it about. Here's what happened when he met the 8 potential evictees before they went into the house.
Jim Davidson.
That's me.
You're a bit fucking late. I've been waiting a year for you.
Sorry, a year. Yeah, I know. I was on my way, bag packed. I had me sort of humble face. I'm not really like that person. I had that all acted out. Nicked.
Do you reckon I can sit there because I've got my hashtag on my face and I can't see it from that side?
Where would you put a hashtag on me, Dappy? I'll lay it up.
Well, okay, look.
You tell me where you want out.
Careful.
I've heard that you're giving your fee to charity. Can you tell us a little bit about the charity that is?
As you gave all your money to charity, famously.
That's great, Ollie, thanks.
You've never done Big Brother, have you?
No.
Would you do Big Brother?
I won it last year. I did.
Of course you did.
Lionel Blake, you said you were a fan.
Oh, of course you won it. No, it's...
Don't talk to me, Lionel. Are you going in there to strike up friendship?
No, I don't want any more friends.
Can I be your friend?
I'm too busy.
I can see nipple.
Can you?
Yeah.
They've got smaller since I've lost
I haven't.
a bit
They're
of weight.
lovely. Can I touch it?
Yeah.
Oh, they're lovely.
Nice.
We'll make it no secret we know each other.
Yes, we do.
We've slept with each other many
Many
a times.
times. Spooned a lot and then we fought and then tried to knife each other.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. We didn't. You wanted Duncan.
Anyway.
That's the truth, though, isn't it?
How would you cope if someone lying next to you in the middle of the night pisses the bed?
I actually gave myself water poisoning from trying it.
What, from your own piss or someone
Yeah,
else?
you know, like when you drink loads of water, I had to do like golden showers.
Right.
Gave myself water poisoning.
What, from too much water?
Yeah, you can get water poisoning.
You've watched Big Brother?
Yeah, I
So
love
you
it.
know who Lauren Harries is? What? Lauren Harries?
Who wants the cake? Where's Courtney? You want some pills?
Like E.T. You have previously been quoted as saying, Celebrity Big Brother is a disgrace. And people only do it if they've got failing careers. Do you stand by this statement?
Okay, I've heard that Lee Ryan's going in.
Would you have sex with Lee Ryan?
No.
Who else you heard that might be going in?
Ollie Locke.
Would you have sex with Ollie Locke?
No.
Do you not think you could win it?
No, not me. I'm the old ones never win it, not the really old ones, or apart from Julian Clary. But
do you miss your animals more than you miss certain people?
Oh, a million times more. I physically miss my animals with like a longing.
You've just been put up for eviction. What would you say to the housemates that nominated you?
Bastards. Horrible, horrible people. Why? Well, I don't know. Maybe I deserved it.
My mind's gone blank. What shall I say?
Call him out on it.
I'll get you when you're sleeping.
I don't understand what I'm doing, so am I just saying, oh, why have you nominated me? I've got a hangover, please. You need to help me out.
You're all a bunch of...
What member of your family are you taking in with you?
A member of my family?
Yeah.
Are we allowed a member of the family to go in?
Lee Ryan. Okay, now this may come as a surprise, but celebrities have friends and family too. Yes, they do. Who else is going to run their errands and keep their feet firmly on the ground? So here to make sense, I hope, of what's going on in the house, because I can't make sense of it, is Louisa's mum, Christina, Linda's friend, Suzanne, Casey's sister-in-law, Sarah, and Jim's good friend, and a panellist on our show as well sometimes, Linda Lusardi. Okay. A really difficult show tonight, I think, especially Suzanne and Linda, for you guys. You've been friends with Jim for 20-odd years. What do you make of everything?
Well, I can only go on the Jim I know, and he's not really showing his true colours in there. He's really struggling, because he's a really funny guy, and he's so kind and warm-hearted. I mean, does loads for charity and the troops abroad and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just feel he hasn't got a mate in there to show off his funny side with, and he's just getting a bit bogged down. And I think Linda and him have just clashed from day one. And although I don't agree with what he said tonight, you know, I do think she's been a bit nitpicking at him, especially at the sink today. You know, the comment. I think he was just trying to join in the conversation. You know, about asking does it bother you that you haven't got a man at home?
I think that's a fair question.
But I can't stick up for him with his last remark. But
Yeah.
I do wish that we were seeing the fun side of Jim. So I actually don't even recognise him, because I only see him with a smile on his face and having a crack and a joke, and he does take the mickey out of people, and he does dig deep to get the laughs, and sometimes at people's expense, but that's the way Jim is.
Suzanne, let's talk to you then. What did you make of everything that happened tonight, and how do you think Linda handled herself?
Well, considering the nature of the comments, I think she's actually handled herself amazingly well.
Yeah.
I'm just so proud of her. Every day she misses her darling husband, Brian, and it doesn't get easier. It actually gets worse for her. You know, it's just awful. I'm quite surprised she didn't react a bit more, but I think it's going to be coming. The first instance, I think she was just shocked, because there was why did he actually bring something like that up? And also, I think she just was very, very deeply hurt. And to see a fabulous close friend crying, and knowing that she has got some friends in there. You know, the girls have been particularly supportive. We've all seen that. It was just so uncalled for. And I actually personally think Jim has actually shown his true colours. I think he's manipulative, and I think he's been thinking he just had to come back with something, and he's just gone below the belt on that one.
Yeah, it was a low blow. And you just said that, you know, the girls especially have been very supportive. Louisa was the one that kind of went and asked the question. Was it supportive friend, or was it somebody potentially maybe stirring to find out the gossip?
What a little shit stirrer. I'm joking.
I feel like it's eviction night again, and Jasmine's saying those names that I never thought she'd say.
I'm joking. She didn't do it to shit stir. She did it because Jim actually said, "Why don't you go and speak to Linda about Fred Carson, whatever his name is, Frank." I don't even know myself what was going on. So Louisa went because Jim asked her. She was being very inquisitive. I would have been exactly the same. I wonder what she meant by that. Louisa had no idea of the repercussions of it. And when we were looking at the film just now, I was all confused, saying, I don't understand why she's getting so upset. So Louisa did it just as a friend. She had no idea that it was going to lead to such a huge upset at all.
We haven't seen a lot from Linda up until this point, apart from the obvious battles that's been going on with Jim and the way she's been looking after everybody and being mama in the house. Do you think now that this has happened, we will see more of Linda, maybe, you know, a different side to Linda, a more fiery side, someone who's not just going to take the quips that she gets and move on from it? Do you think we'll see her react more?
Absolutely. I said that the gloves are certainly off now. And Linda has got a feisty part of her nature. But one thing about Linda is she's totally honest. And I think throughout the show, she said from word go that her and Jim just don't get on. But she's been fairly respectful to him. And I think deep down that she will feel so disrespected because of the comments that she will think gloves are off. And I don't think she'll be holding back any longer. But she certainly won't stoop to his level because he dug low there, and she will keep it together, but she will certainly make her point clear, definitely.
One lady that Jim hasn't argued with is Casey. They seem to get on really well in the house. Why do you think, Sarah, that is?
Jim actually reminds me of Casey's dad. It's the same generation. He's the same sort of, I don't know, he just really reminds me of Casey's dad, and Casey's really close to her dad. So I think what's happened is he's kind of, she sees him in that sort of, you know, she kind
Father
of,
figure.
the father figure, and, you know, she'd go to her dad for if she wanted to discuss problems, and she's doing the same with Jim. So, yeah, definitely.
He's been accused of being a misogynist.
No, he's not. He loves women. I mean, he gets on great with Casey, doesn't he?
Yeah,
and he gets on all right with Sam. He's just...
Gets on with you?
Gets on with me. But I think it's just because the other girls in there have been quite, I think, disrespectful to him in the way that they've... And I know it's your daughter, but when she gave the nomination, she was really quite venomous and rude to him, and I was really surprised that he didn't bite back. I mean, he must have really bitten the end of his tongue off, because he's not used to being spoken to like that, and any man of that generation, I don't think, would have taken that from a young girl.
They're quite fiery girls,
They are
aren't
fiery,
they? And they're quite loud.
Yeah.
Does he not like loud, fiery girls? No.
Do you
know him?
No, he does, but not when the loudness is rudeness, because they haven't really given him any respect in there. And you know, he's done a lot in his life, you know, and he's been around the block a few times, and I know, you know, Linda's had a very difficult time at the moment, and Jim has too, you know, just coming out of the case and everything. And you know, to be spoken to like that, I mean, you know, you can say the same thing without using those nasty, venomous words. And I just think I was quite shocked, really. But I took my hat off to him, because I think if he wasn't in there, he would have exploded.
She's a very strong woman. She is quite loud as well sometimes.
She is.
She likes a row every now and then. She's been busy with arguments, I think it's fair to say. Has she always been like that? Is she an argumentative
I don't
girl?
think she's argumentative. She's very strong. She has big opinions. She will always stand up for herself. You know, she's only had an argument with 3 people. I think we need to let her do the rest of it, which will be see her way through the whole of the house, and then she'll be happy. No, she is very strong, and she does have high opinions. She will not tolerate, if she thinks something isn't right, she will make sure that she gets her point over, and she won't stop until that person's like crumbled. Actually, she'll go for the kill.
I mean, I think
but that's
she's
the
fantastic.
personality
I mean,
she
don't get me
is.
wrong, I think she's fantastic and great viewing, you know. I'm just
She's very
just
strong.
seeing it from Jim's point of view.
I think that she's also quite misunderstood, in all fairness. I know the words that she used were very harsh and all the rest of it, but when she stood up and did that, she was actually, part of her was joking as well. It wasn't all
we
done
did
in
talk
true
about that actually in our
seriousness.
psych chat the other day.
it-
She
it
did
wasn't
have a
all
smile.
She did,
at
and
the end.
people do take her far too seriously. You know, she's
I
a fun-loving,
I just
she's a
don't
young
think-
26-year-old
Yeah.
who enjoys having fun and enjoys life. And my motto to her has always been, you're a long time dead. Don't ever be a what if, go out, do it, go for it. Don't ever think on your deathbed when life is flashing past you, if only if. Don't be that if
But I
only
just
if.
think that he didn't take it that way.
No, he
Yeah,
didn't, and that's
no.
why I'm saying she's misunderstood.
As with every part of the show tonight, we could just keep on talking about this, but unfortunately the show isn't 2 hours long, so we're going to have to leave it there. But thank you so much for coming on and giving your opinions on what has been a really difficult episode tonight, I think. Still to come, Denise is going to be in the Gallery of Reality, which is also known as the Reality Gallery, plus we'll have all the goss from that there Celeb Shack. Welcome back to Bit on the Side, where 24 hours is a long time in Big Brother land. Jasmine, who? Who? Here's the news. At 10:36 this morning, Lionel was the victim of a cruel prank in the kitchen.
Want a cup of tea? Oh, yes, please. Right, before you put sugar in the tea, Lee put salt in the sugar pot, So empty the salt back into the salt, put sugar back in the bowl. I just had to let him do it last night.
Is Lee all right? Is he awake?
Has anyone used this yet?
What is that? Short salt, isn't it?
Yeah, apparently it's salt.
Oh, fuck.
No, we didn't do it. It's not me. I swear to God, no, honestly. They just told me.
Who told you?
They just said to me just before you make tea. Well, I don't use
It's your timing again. Does anyone use this? Oh, fuck.
Poor old Lionel, that really does bring a whole new meaning to the phrase seasoned veteran. At 3 p.m. this afternoon, Dappy was appointed as Liz's junior reporter for a special task. Liz's journalistic skills were tested by interviewing 3 of the housemates about their time in the house, while Dappy took notes.
The topic we want to interview you about is your feud with Linda.
Yes.
Can you talk about that feud at all? Can you sum it up?
Linda said in the house on the first night as we walked across, the reason I don't like him, he's an arsehole or something like that when he drinks, and he had an argument with my husband. So I think it's human nature to find out why someone hates you. Even though you've gone out your way to try and
But you know why she hates you, because you had an argument with her husband.
Yeah,
That's
but
it.
what about?
I don't
Why?
know.
That's what I want
Do
to
you
find
know,
out.
Dappy?
I don't know.
I don't quite get that. 20 odd years ago, an argument with her husband in a pub, and she hates me. That to me doesn't sound right. So there's something else that I can't quite get to the bottom of.
Then at 4:45 this afternoon, Liz and Dappy completed the task by reading back their findings to the rest of the house.
Right, the headline is 12 Angry Men and Women by Liz Jones, with additional reporting by Dappy.
Bang, 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 bang. All day.
First, let's take the feud between Jim Davidson and Linda Nolan. Last night, Linda accused Jim of calling her an arsehole, which he denies. Jim tells me he has no idea why she hates him. He cannot remember the argument he's supposed to have had decades ago, and I believe him. He also denies calling me names, other than describing me as being a slightly odd. But I've been called worse.
Riveting. Dappy was supposed to present the findings, but as ever, chatty Liz wouldn't let anyone get a word in. They passed the task and the house received an evening of music and drinks. That's today's news. Oh, I'm going in there. Hi. I forgot then, Ian. I forgot.
Yeah.
I'm walking straight in.
Charming.
Right, reality gallery. Denise, what's happening?
Well, Liz has been doing a sort of a news feed called 12 Angry Men, where she says that in an interview with Jim, he said that he didn't call Linda an arsehole and that he doesn't know why. He doesn't know why she hates him after an argument he had with her husband, and Liz actually believes him. So that was quite interesting. Dappy has given Lee some very important life advice, and he's told him that he's been a fool for going back and forth between Jasmine and Casey. That is indeed a news flash. Lee has told Big Brother that he wants the public to vote him off in tomorrow's eviction. I don't think he does.
Oh, thanks, Denise.
Thank you.
Thank you. So,
Hi.
Ian.
All right. What?
All right.
All right.
All right. What's happening?
Well, eviction tomorrow.
Yes.
I've got a small selection of tweets. I haven't got time to cover every housemate.
We've got 45 seconds.
Okay, well, we'll see how many we get through. Danielle Celine says Louise has got to go. Her voice would give a statue a migraine. Ashley Reed says, let's boot out Liz Jones. She doesn't want to be there, and seeing her on my TV is making me want to sleep.
Oh.
Alison Mack says, Jim's a miserable old bastard. He's not in it for fun, so why is he there at all? Naomi DTK says, Lionel's very two-faced, bitchy, underhand and sly.
Oh, I like Lionel.
And Sam Fares to Win says, Lee should be evicted because we don't need him being all over the other girls now Jasmine's gone.
I don't think he will be, will he? I think he's learnt his lesson by
Well,
listening to that crowd.
there's a lot of fallout from today's task. What you didn't see in the news was that there was obviously a big section about the love triangle.
Yeah.
And Lee's not happy about what Liz said about him and what Dappy said to Liz, and it's all on the website, channel5.com/bigbrother, all the fallouts there.
Thanks, Ian. Right, Ryland's going to be back tomorrow with your latest Celeb Evictee, along with Luke Marsden, Lizzie Cundy and Helen Flanagan. Good luck with that one. Good night.